Have you ever wondered what really happened behind the scenes of one of TV's most iconic variety shows? From the moment Sonny and Cher set foot on stage, their offbeat fashion, magnetic performances, and undeniable chemistry captivated millions. Yet, beneath the dazzling lights and chart-topping hits, a darker reality simmered. Betrayals, fierce legal battles, and heartbreaking revelations almost tore their world apart. Today, we uncover how the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour shot to fame, why it eventually crumbled under personal turmoil, and how two remarkable entertainers transformed heartache into legacies that still resonate decades later. Sonny Bono was born Salvatore Philip Bono on February 16, 1935 in Detroit, Michigan, to Santo and Jean Bono, Sicilian immigrants trying to carve out a life in America. From the beginning, his home life was turbulent. His parents had an arranged marriage, and their frequent arguments sometimes happened right in front of their children. By 1942, hoping for a fresh start, the Bono family moved to Englewood, California. Sonny's parents pushed him to excel academically, dreaming he would become a doctor or a lawyer. But Sonny had different plans. He found school difficult and, more important, uninteresting. What ignited his passion was music. His father, who played the banjo and accordion, filled the house with melodies, fostering in Sonny a lifelong creative spark. While he fought to break into the music industry, Sonny did whatever he could to make ends meet. Over the years, he worked as a construction laborer, a truck driver, a waiter. He even delivered meat wearing a butcher's apron stained with blood. But none of these jobs deterred him from his ultimate goal of becoming a songwriter and a performer. His persistence paid off when he sold his first song at 16. That initial taste of success propelled him to keep writing, keep pitching ideas, and keep meeting new industry connections. By the late 1950s, he'd made progress as a songwriter, eventually finding work at Specialty Records, where he honed his craft under the guidance of seasoned professionals. But the real game changer came when Sonny started working for the legendary producer Phil Spector. In that fast-paced, high-pressure environment, Sonny learned the subtleties of arranging, engineering, and producing. He contributed to hits like Be My Baby, but his tendency to speak his mind, which included criticizing Spector's so-called wall of sound, cost him his job. Meanwhile, across town, Sherilyn Sarkisian, born on May 20th, 1946 in El Centro, California, was grappling with an unstable childhood. Her father, John Sarkisian, was largely absent, struggling with gambling and drug addiction. Her mother, Georgia Holt, pursued small-time acting roles while working menial jobs to keep the family afloat. Money was always scarce. At one point, Cher's mother had to leave her in a Catholic orphanage because she believed the care there might be better than what she could provide. Though Georgia visited daily, the experience left a mark on Cher, fueling a lifelong desire for stability and success. When Cher reached her teenage years, she discovered a deep passion for performance. By 5th grade, she was directing school plays and wasn't afraid to step into male roles if the boys refused to participate. Even then, her voice was noticeably deeper than her peers, something she initially worried would prevent her from landing a professional singing career. With undiagnosed dyslexia making academics difficult, Cher decided that traditional education wasn't for her. At 16, she took the leap, dropped out of high school, and moved to Los Angeles with dreams of stardom. The Sunset Strip, with its neon signs and smoky nightclubs, was an ideal backdrop for Cher's ambition. She worked as a dancer, trying to find any opportunity to break into the entertainment world. Through mutual friends in the music scene, she crossed paths with Sonny Bono in November 1962. At the time, Sonny was 27, while Cher was just 16. Initially, there was no grand spark of romance. Instead, Sonny recognized Cher's raw talent, her voice, her presence, her star potential, and offered her a way into the recording world. He brought Cher to Phil Spector's studio sessions, where she sang backup for big acts like the Ronettes and the Righteous Brothers. Soon, she was on recordings that would become iconic, gaining invaluable experience. However, Cher faced a major personal crisis. Her roommate moved out, and she suddenly had nowhere to live. Sonny offered his apartment as a refuge. In exchange, Cher would be his housekeeper. She agreed, doing her best with the cooking and cleaning, though she later admitted domestic chores were never her strong suit. Over time, their connection intensified. By 1964, they were performing together, first as Caesar and Cleo, a name that failed to catch on. It was their rebranding in 1965 as Sonny and Cher that launched them into stardom. That same year, Sonny penned I Got You Babe on an $85 piano in his garage. Cher was unimpressed initially, but Sonny believed the track captured the rebellious, free-spirited vibe of the era. After layering the production, a technique he'd picked up from Phil Spector, he took it to Atco Records. Initially doubtful, the label gave in once the song exploded on radio. I Got You Babe shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August 1965, selling millions of copies and even dethroning the Beatles in the UK. Practically overnight, Sonny and Cher became household names. The duo cultivated an unconventional style. Sonny often wore shaggy vests and mod suits, while Cher's long, sleek hair and dramatic makeup set her apart from the era's more polished singers. Their bohemian aesthetic drew criticism, but it also made them icons of the 1960s counterculture. Clubs sometimes refused to admit them, calling their outfits too flamboyant. In London, headlines blared that they were kicked out of a fancy hotel, an event that may have been staged, but still boosted their public profile. Fans embraced them, especially in Europe, where their offbeat vibe aligned perfectly with the swinging 60s. But the music industry's tastes changed rapidly. The psychedelic rock wave in the late 1960s overshadowed Sonny and Cher's folk pop style. Record sales dropped, and they found themselves performing in smaller venues instead of sold-out arenas. Oddly enough, in these intimate performances, Cher's sharp wit began to shine. Between songs, she'd lob comedic one-liners at Sonny, who played the affable straight man. Audiences ate it up, laughing as much at the banter as at the music. Word spread, and soon their comedic dynamic was drawing renewed attention. Television executives noticed too, especially Fred Silverman of CBS. He saw Sonny and Cher guest host The Merv Griffin Show, witnessed their onstage chemistry, and decided they deserved their own variety program. At the time, variety shows were a dime a dozen, but something about Sonny and Cher stood out. They had fallen on harder times musically, but Silverman believed their comedic interplay could breathe life into primetime TV. In August 1971, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour premiered as a 6-episode summer replacement. The format was straightforward. They'd open with their theme, The Beat Goes On, toss a few jibes at each other, and segue into comedy sketches and musical performances. Cher's stunning costumes, designed by Bob Mackie, became a major draw. Bright, daring, and often revealing, her outfits challenged network censors and caught viewers' imaginations. On top of that, big-name guests, George Burns, the Jackson 5, Ronald Reagan, kept the show fresh. Audiences were hooked. By January 1972, the show graduated to a permanent slot, drawing top 10 ratings on a weekly basis. Cher's comedic timing was a revelation. She threw digs at Sonny about his height, his intelligence, his singing. Anything was fair game, yet it never felt mean-spirited. America saw a happily married couple trading jokes like pros, turning the usual husband-wife dynamic on its head. Sonny was the bumbling but sweet partner, and Cher was the no-nonsense, quick-witted superstar. Fans adored it. Each week ended with their signature tune, I Got You Babe, often joined by their daughter, Chastity, on stage. It was the perfect show closer. Warm, familial, and crowd-pleasing. The series became one of the hottest programs on television, earning Emmy nominations and praise from critics. Behind the laughter and glitz, however, trouble loomed. Sonny and Cher's marriage was in jeopardy. Off-camera, Sonny exerted significant control over Cher, not only in personal matters but financially as well. Everything went through him. For years, Cher hadn't realized just how much of their business empire was legally tied to Sonny. She later discovered she had virtually no financial stake in their partnership, despite being half of the brand. To complicate matters, Cher discovered Sonny was unfaithful. This betrayal, combined with feeling like she had no agency in her career or earnings, became unbearable. She felt more like a product than a partner, once describing herself as a golden goose who was only valuable for the money she generated. Emotionally overwhelmed, she once stood on a Las Vegas hotel balcony, contemplating a leap. Ultimately, she stepped back, determined to reclaim control over her life and career. While millions of Americans watched the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour for laughs and catchy tunes, the couple's private world was collapsing. Tensions finally reached a breaking point in early 1974. The final episode was filmed on January 21st, 1974, although the audience had no clue it would be the end. A month later, Sonny filed for separation. Cher responded by filing for divorce, revealing in court that he'd set up the company Cher Enterprises so that he held 95% of the shares, leaving her with practically nothing. That revelation stunned fans who saw them as a carefree, equal duo. The ensuing court battle was ugly. Cher accused Sonny of involuntary servitude, citing the 13th Amendment to prove she'd effectively been bound to contracts she couldn't escape. Shockwaves rippled through the entertainment industry. This was no ordinary celebrity divorce. It was a test of how far contractual obligations could go in controlling an artist's career. After the divorce was finalized in 1975, both Sonny and Cher tried to keep the magic alive on their own. Sonny created the Sonny Comedy Review, hoping to replicate the comedic formula without Cher. It fizzled fast and got canceled after 13 episodes. Audiences missed their beloved duo's chemistry. Sonny alone, or surrounded by lesser-known comedic talents, just wasn't the same. Cher, on the other hand, launched her own show, simply titled Cher, in 1975. It premiered with massive star power: Elton John, Flip Wilson, Bette Midler, and pulled in strong ratings. Critics applauded Cher's ability to carry the spotlight by herself, her comedic edge unmuted, and her music front and center. Yet, the network underwent changes, and Cher's personal life was also shifting. She briefly remarried rocker Gregg Allman, though that relationship was fraught with its own issues. Surprisingly, in 1976, CBS convinced Sonny and Cher to reunite for the Sonny and Cher Show, attempting to rekindle their comedic partnership. Though audiences initially tuned in out of sheer curiosity, it was clear the dynamic had changed. Their banter felt stiff, as if both realized that the real-life wounds were too fresh for playful digs to land without sting. By 1977, that show too was canceled. Sonny Bono faced a challenging new chapter. Having lost his musical momentum, he pivoted to the world of politics. Elected mayor of Palm Springs, California in 1988, Sonny found success championing local development and eventually ascended to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1994. His legislative interests included copyright reform and environmental initiatives, subjects he believed in strongly. However, fate intervened in a tragic way. In January 1998, Sonny Bono was skiing at Heavenly Resort in South Lake Tahoe. He lost control, crashed into a tree, and was killed instantly. It was a freak accident, just days after the similarly tragic death of Michael Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy's son, in a skiing mishap. The sudden loss of Sonny Bono, at age 62, shocked the nation. He left behind his wife, Mary Whitaker Bono, their 2 children, and a political legacy still in progress. The world watched as Cher stepped to the podium at Sonny's funeral. Though that they'd been divorced for decades, she spoke with raw emotion, calling him the most unforgettable character she'd ever met. She recounted his quirks, his drive, and the early days when he believed in her talent, before she believed in herself. It was a moment that reminded everyone how closely bound they were, despite the lawsuits and heartbreak that had once driven them apart. Cher's career, meanwhile, soared to unimaginable heights. After forging a successful solo path with hits in the 1970s, songs like Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves, and Half-Breed, she pivoted to acting in the 1980s. Roles in Silkwood and Mask garnered praise, but it was her Academy Award-winning performance in Moonstruck that solidified her status as a Hollywood powerhouse. Never one to rest on past success, she astonished the music world in 1998 with Believe. Its use of auto-tune was groundbreaking, kicking off the Cher effect phenomenon that influenced a whole new wave of pop music. At 52, Cher became the oldest female artist ever to top the Billboard Hot 100. She followed that triumph with mega-scale tours, Las Vegas residencies, and continued reinventions, proving that her reach extended far beyond her beginnings in a duet. The personal legacy Sonny and Cher left behind included their child Chastity, born in 1969, who would later become Chaz Bono. As an adult, Chaz made the bold move to come out as a lesbian in 1995, then publicly transitioned to male in 2009. His journey, documented in Becoming Chaz, sparked national debates about gender identity. Despite facing pushback from conservative groups, especially when he appeared on Dancing with the Stars, Chaz became a prominent activist for transgender rights, influencing countless people. Cher, known for her fierce individualism, initially struggled with her child's transition, but ultimately became one of Chaz's biggest supporters. Through this, she underscored her evolving role not just as a performer, but as a mother willing to learn and embrace her child's identity. Their final years were a testament to how time and perspective can heal deep wounds. Cher revealed that before Sonny passed, he apologized for how he had treated her, his infidelity, his controlling nature, the financial manipulations. That moment of reconciliation allowed them to move forward as friends, even if they never performed together regularly again. Their 1987 appearance on David Letterman's show was more a nostalgic glimpse than a genuine career revival, but it offered fans a chance to see them side by side one last time, trading playful barbs. Today, the legacy of the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour continues to resonate. It revolutionized the variety show format by blending music, witty banter, and outlandish costumes in a way that felt both modern and timeless. It showcased an unapologetically independent woman in Cher, whose comedic takedowns of her husband defied the era's stereotypes about gender roles on television. In many ways, the show laid the groundwork for future comedy duos, proving that couples could be equal partners, if not in real life, at least in front of the camera. Sonny and Cher's story is a testament to the duality of fame, how it can be a vehicle for reinvention and success, yet also a catalyst for the darkest sides of personal relationships. Their on-camera chemistry dazzled viewers, but away from the lights, they grappled with betrayal, power imbalances, and battles for control. The perfect marriage, the public saw, was in fact riddled with conflict. Even so, that doesn't diminish what they accomplished in entertainment. Their classic hits, especially I Got You Babe, remain staples of pop culture, conjuring nostalgia for a time when turning on a TV to watch a variety show felt like a communal event. In retrospect, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour wasn't just about music or laughs. It was a snapshot of a changing America in the early 1970s, a period marked by shifting social norms, political unrest, and the rise of women demanding more autonomy. Cher's confidence and Sonny's willingness to be the comedic foil mirrored broader cultural shifts that would only gain momentum as time went on. That's part of why the show remains so memorable. It managed to entertain while reflecting real-life complexities, some comedic, others tragic, that so many viewers could relate to. Ultimately, the duo's story underscores the idea that the end of a working partnership doesn't negate the influence it had or the powerful memories it created. Sonny Bono's tragic death reminded everyone that life can end abruptly, leaving little time for regrets or second chances. Cher's unyielding evolution from a shy girl in the orphanage to a solo icon underscores how one can transcend personal struggles to reach towering pinnacles of achievement. And together, Sonny and Cher wrote an extraordinary chapter in show business history. Perhaps the lasting question is, what do we remember when we think of the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour? Is it Sonny's charming grin as he introduced a musical number? Cher's sequin-laden gowns that made headline after headline? The comedic barbs that flew between them? Or the final notes of I Got You Babe as the curtain fell? The answer is all of the above, plus the knowledge that behind every stage persona, there's a real human story. Sonny and Cher's partnership had immeasurable highs and devastating lows. Their show is now a nostalgic time capsule, an emblem of an era before cable TV and the internet, when entire families gathered to watch a couple with remarkable chemistry make millions laugh. So, after all the glamour, heartbreak, and reinvention, where does that leave the legacy of the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour? It remains a powerful reminder of how show business can offer both a fairy tale spotlight and a cautionary lesson about the costs of fame. From their quick-witted banter to those unforgettable duets, their mark on entertainment still resonates. And each time I Got You Babe drifts through the airwaves, it's hard not to picture those stage lights that once dazzled America's living rooms. Sure, the cameras stopped rolling and the marriage ended amid painful legal disputes, but the essence of their partnership lives on. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time.